All right, I need to get something off my chest. Every single how to get rich video on this platform wants to sell you the same fantasy. Quit your job, build an app, become an influencer, hit it big. And look, sure, that happens to about 4 people a year. Statistically, you have a better shot at building real wealth doing something nobody wants to film a TikTok about. So today, we're doing the opposite of sexy. I'm giving you 10 of the most boring, unglamorous, nobody's writing a movie about this businesses in America, and I'm going to show you with real numbers how normal people use them to build income that shows up whether they're working or not. Not quit your job tomorrow money. Start small, boring but durable, 5 and 6 figures a year money. This one's for anyone who's tired of chasing the shiny thing and just wants to understand how actual cash-flowing businesses work. If that's you, hit subscribe. Seriously, it means a lot, and it's the only way these videos keep happening. Okay, let's get into it. Before we start, quick filter I use for every single one of these. I call it the cash test. Consistent demand. Do people need this no matter what the economy's doing? Automatable. Can a system or an employee run it without you? Sticky customers. Once someone's using it, do they keep using it? High enough margins. Is there actual meat left after expenses? Keep that in your back pocket. We're going to run every business on this list through it. And a quick disclaimer up front, because I'd be lying if I said while you sleep meant 0 effort. Every one of these takes real money, real permits, and real work to set up. Passive here means the work is front-loaded, not that it doesn't exist. Okay, now let's actually get into it. Business number 1, vending machines. You buy a vending machine, put it in a spot with foot traffic, a gym, an apartment complex, a warehouse break room, and restock it once a week. This is the cheapest entry point on the whole list. You can start with one machine for less than most people spend on a used car. Industry estimates from research firms like IBISWorld put the US vending machine market in the multi-billion-dollar range every year. It's not a hot new trend, it's just quietly always there, which is exactly the point. Let's say you buy a machine for $3,000. You place it in a busy gym. After restocking costs, you're netting around $200 a month. That's a 15-month payback. Not fast, I know, but once it's paid off, that $200 a month is basically free cash flow for as long as the machine's there. Do that with 5 machines, and you've got $1,000 a month rolling in for maybe 2 hours of restocking a week. Business number 2, coin-op laundromats. You buy an existing laundromat, the machines, the lease, the customer base, and let it run. People do laundry in a recession, a boom, a pandemic. Doesn't matter. It's about as recession-proof as retail gets. The Small Business Administration and various small business lenders have long flagged laundromats as one of the higher cash-on-cash return categories in retail, largely because there's basically no inventory and very little theft risk. The product is a washing machine. Say you buy a laundromat for $150,000. It brings in about $9,000 a month in quarters and card swipes. Rent, water, gas, and electric run you around $6,000 a month in rent. That's $3,000 a month in profit before your loan payment. Even after debt service, a lot of owners are clearing a couple grand a month on a business that requires maybe a few hours of upkeep a week and one person to empty the coin boxes. Business number 3, self-storage units. You own a small storage facility or even just a handful of units and rent them out monthly. Self-storage has this incredible psychological quirk. Once someone fills a unit, they almost never fully empty it out. Stuff goes in, stuff basically never comes out. That stickiness is the whole business model. Industry occupancy data has generally hovered in the high 80s to low 90% range nationally in recent years, roughly, which tells you demand rarely dries up. Picture a small 40-unit facility, average rent of $120 a month per unit. That's $4,800 a month gross. Property tax, insurance, and basic upkeep might run you $1,500 a month. You're netting around $3,300 a month. And unlike a rental house, nobody's calling you at 2 a.m. about a broken toilet. Business number 4, ATM routes. You buy the actual ATM machines, place them in bars, gas stations, or laundromats. Hey, look, another crossover with number 2. And you keep the surcharge fee every time someone withdraws cash. In cash-heavy venues, that surcharge fee, usually a couple bucks, is basically pure profit once the machine's paid for. Surcharge fees on owned ATMs commonly land somewhere around $2 to $3 per withdrawal, illustratively speaking, depending on the location and local competition. Say a machine in a busy bar sees 300 withdrawals a month at $2.50. That's $750 a month. Loading the cash and basic maintenance costs you about $150, net $600 a month. Per machine, own 4 of those across town and you're at $2,400 a month, and your job is driving a cash bag around once a week. Business number 5. Self-service car washes. You have a handful of self-service or automated bays, no cashier standing there all day. Customers pull in, pay, wash, leave. Once the equipment's paid off, your ongoing costs are mostly water, soap, and electric. That's a genuinely high-margin setup for a physical business. Operating margins on well-run self-service washes are often cited in the small business lending world as some of the highest in the wash and rinse category, illustratively well above what you'd see at a typical retail storefront. 4 bays average $8 a wash, 40 washes a day. That's $320 a day. Expenses like water, soap, and power run maybe $100 a day. You're netting roughly $2,200 a day, which works out to around $6,600 a month, and your job is becoming a hands-on mechanic, not a cashier. Business number 6. Dumpster rental and junk removal. You buy a handful of roll-off dumpsters and rent them to contractors and homeowners doing renovations, or you run a small junk removal crew with a truck and a trailer. Renovation and construction demand doesn't really stop, and in a lot of mid-size markets, there's shockingly little competition. This is the definition of boring but busy. Typical dumpster rental fees illustratively run somewhere around $300 to $450 per drop, depending on size and how long the customer keeps it. Say you've got 5 dumpsters, each rented out about twice a month at $350. After dump fees and trucking, you're netting roughly $150 per rental. 10 rentals a month is $1,500 a month, and your employee might just be a part-time driver you pay by the run. Business number 7. Parking lot leasing. You own or lease an underused lot near a stadium, hospital, or downtown core and rent out spaces through an app, a meter, or an attendant on event days. This might be the closest thing on this list to literally renting air. There's no product, no inventory, just asphalt you already have. Event day parking rates in urban cores commonly run somewhere in the $20 to $40 range illustratively, depending on the city and the event. Example, a 30-space lot near a stadium rented at $25 a space on event days. That's $750 an event. Twice as many events some months bumps it higher. Run 8 events a month, you're looking at $6,000 in gross revenue before your lease or attendant costs. Now, some of you are going to say, wait, this isn't passive. Someone still has to manage the app or stand there with a vest. And you're right. That's why most owners here hire a part-time attendant or use an automated pay kiosk. The owner's job becomes managing a manager, not managing cars. Business number 8. Billboard and land leasing. You own a small parcel of land with good road frontage or line of sight and lease it to a billboard company or a cell carrier looking to put up a tower. This one is about as close to true sleep money as it gets. Once the lease is signed, the company builds and maintains the structure. You just collect rent for owning the dirt underneath it. Cell tower ground leases illustratively range from around $1,000 to a couple $1,000s a month, depending on carrier and location. Billboard leases tend to run a few $100s a month. Say you own a small roadside parcel and lease it for a modest billboard at $500 a month. That's $6,000 a year for doing functionally nothing after the ink dries. Business number 9. Commercial cleaning service. You start a cleaning company, land a handful of recurring office contracts, hire a crew and a manager, and step back from actually cleaning anything yourself. Recurring contracts mean predictable, repeatable revenue, and the equipment cost to start is genuinely low. This is one of the few businesses on this list where the barrier to entry is mostly hustle, not capital. Small commercial cleaning contracts commonly run a few $100s a month per client,
illustratively speaking, depending on the size and cleaning frequency. 10 recurring office contracts at $400 a month each is $4,000 in revenue. Crew wages and supplies eat up around $2,600. You're left with $1,400 in owner profit, and the owner isn't the one vacuuming anymore. Scale that crew and those contracts up, and this is genuinely how six-figure cleaning companies get built.
Business number 10, small rental property with a property manager. You buy a duplex or a small rental property, hire a property manager to handle tenants and repairs, and collect what's left of the rent every month. This one combines two wealth-building forces at once: monthly cash flow, plus the mortgage getting paid down by someone else's rent check, plus whatever appreciation the property picks up over time. A commonly cited rule of thumb, the 1% rule, says a rental property's monthly rent should be roughly 1% of its purchase price for the numbers to make sense. It's a rough filter, not gospel, but it's a fast way to sniff test a deal. A $200,000 duplex renting for $2,000 a month combined hits that 1% mark right on the nose. Mortgage, property management fee, taxes, and insurance might run $1,600 a month. That leaves $400 a month in actual cash flow. Not huge, but you're also paying down principal and, historically, watching the asset itself grow in value over the years. I've got a whole separate video that walks through the full math on buying your first rental property, cap rates and all. I'll link it below if you want to go deeper on that one specifically. So here's the thread running through every single one of these. None of them are exciting. Nobody's making a documentary about the guy who owns 4 ATMs, but that's exactly why they work. Boring businesses don't need hype cycles. They don't need you to go viral, and they don't care if you're paying attention every hour of the day. They just need a system, and once a week or once a month, a person, you, checking in on it. That's the real lesson underneath the whole video. Building wealth was never actually about finding the one exciting idea. It's about owning things that keep producing whether you're watching or not, and reinvesting what they give you. Do that boring thing long enough, and it quietly becomes the most interesting decision you ever made. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.